Hello friends, welcome back to another exciting journey of learning Terraform for beginners. If you are new to this channel, ki- kindly do take some time to watch my playlist. I have tried my best to share the knowledge on DevOps tools like Git, Ansible, Jenkins. Also, I have shared my journey of how to get yourself certified Jenkins engineer. Also, I have tried my best to share my journey of how I have cleared the cloud certifications like AWS Cloud Practitioner, Azure Data Fundamentals, Azure Fundamentals, and the Google Cloud Associate. Not only that, if you are stepping into the world of IT and are keen interested to learn the Linux, I have created the bunch of series or the videos on Linux fundamentals where I have covered all necessary commands used on day-to-day basis if you're working on Linux. So please do take some time, and if you like it, do share with your friends, and do not forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel. It really motivates me to come up with the new videos, whatever I'm learning. So now take a deep breath, relax, and let's study variables in Terraform, what it is. So let's get started. So let's learn together what are variables in Terraform and what types of variables Terraform gives us. So there are three types of variables. One is input variables, one is local variables, and the last one is the output variables. Let's learn together these three variables, and don't worry, we are going to have a demo session of how to use these variables in your day-to-day Terraform code. So let's move on to the first variable, which is input variable. But before that, let's understand why variables are there in Terraform or why we need it, right? So in Terraform, the variables are used to pass the values from external sources into the Terraform configuration. We can create variables.tf file, which will hold all variables. Don't worry, I'm going to explain this, that why we need variables. So there are a situation where we store the access key, the secret key, or any of the critical information while we are connecting to one of the cloud providers, and Terraform recommends us not to keep those keys into main.tf. Instead of that, let's create something called as a variables.tf, and which will hold your variable values in those variables, and that variables can be called into the main.tf configuration file. So that's the important of the variables.tf file in the Terraform. Now let's move to our first variable, which is called as the input variable. These variables send values to the Terraform. So I have defined a variable block, and it has a description, type, and default. Remember, the description can be anything. Type can be your string, boolean, number, whatever you want to discuss. Don't worry, I will walk through the types of types in the variable session. Remember, these all values are optional, right? So there is an optional whether you want to declare a description in the variable block, but it's you need to make understand everyone what this variable block is. It's always best to declare the description, the type of variable it is, and what will be its value, which is defined in the default, right? So moving to the next one is our output variable. What are these output variables? These variables retrieves the value from Terraform. It can be void, integer, string, or an object. I have shown how to declare the output variable on the right side. So if you see in this example, we have declared output variable name has bucket name, and then we are defining the value for that output. So in this case, it is nothing but we are calling the state, we are calling the state bucket.id. So we wanted to know what is the name of that bucket. So that's why we have defined to make understand everyone what this variable is. Similarly, you can define n number of output variables, but to make everyone understand, it's always best what that variable function is, right? So define accordingly. Moving to the last variable, which is local variable. So, and why we need these local variables? So local variables are the variables whose scope is limited to the current function only. In Terraform, local variables scope is limited to the current context and all the resources defined in the current context. They are generally used to build out variables. So on the right hand side, yeah, I have defined how the local variable is defined and what it is doing. So this is one simple example, but we are going to have a demo session where we are going to walk through what we have discussed. So if you want to declare a local variable, you need to define something called as locals. In that, you will have a bucket. You have defined name called as bucket name, and you have given some tag. And if you see, we are calling the resource called as AWS S3 bucket. So in Terraform, if you want to define any resource like EC2 instance, S3 bucket, then they have given what the resource name would be, and you need to use that resource in order to create the resource, in order to create that resource in EC2 or in AWS. So in this case, the resource is S3 bucket. Okay, the name of the resource is state of the bucket, and in that we have a variable called, we have defined a variable called as local dot bucket name, which is defined here, right? And the tag is local dot tags, which is defined in the local variable name. So that's how you define the local variables. I hope you got a theoretical understanding of what are variables, what are different types of variables given to us by Terraform, and how can you use those variables in Terraform. So hold tight, we are going to have the demo sessions which will answer all this theoretical knowledge which we have discussed. So without any delay, let's get started to our demo session. So friends, welcome back to the demo session of variables in Terraform. If you haven't watched my previous video where I have shown how to create your first EC2 instance using Terraform, don't worry, here is a quick recap, but please go ahead and watch that video because it has a lot of information related to providers and how they are used. So in that, we have created the TF file where we have defined all hard-coded things: the region, the instance type, the AMI, the access key, and the secret key. And the Terraform is against it. Terraform says do not define any hard code values. Instead of that, start using the variables.tf. Start using Terraform TF was file. Start using a var while passing to the plan or the Terraform apply, and that's what we are going to see in this video. So let's now first focus on our three variables, which is input, output, and the local. And I'm going to go with the first one called as a local variable. All you need to do is define something called as locals, and in that you can define the variables. Now the question is, how are we going to access that? The simple way is local dot that name of that variable. In this case, I have access local dot instance type in order to use that variable which I've defined in locals block, right? And similarly, I've used the local dot AMI. Okay, so let's now first use our Terraform, well, Terraform to validate our syntax, which is Terraform validate, and it will validate everything. If everything is good, boom, it gets success. That's how it is. Now let's use Terraform learn to see whether our values are getting populated or not. And let's see that. And if you see, our values are getting populated here. That's how you can use the local variables. And as the name suggests, local variable is only accessible in that particular block of code or that piece where you have defined that. Now let's quickly move to our next variable, which is input variable. So to proceed with the input variables, you need to create something called as a variables.tf, and that's what I'm going to create here. Variables.tf, and in that I'm going to define some variables which we are going to use in our main.tf. So I'm going to define something called as a variable AWS instance type, and I'm going to define that as description. This is instance type block. Okay, sorry for the typo error. And we are going to define what type of variable is it. Is it string, numerical, or boolean? And what is its default value? Where in this our case it will be T2 micro. Okay, we have defined this. Now let's go ahead and define another value. Variable AWS double quotes AWS underscore access underscore key, and I'm going to define that as type equals to string. What is my value of that would be default. Let me get this. So default block is always an optional block. And then if you do not define here, I will show you what's going to happen. Let's just wait. And I'm going to define here another one called as AWS secret underscore key. What is the type of that? Type equals to string. I'm going to define default value for that, which is, I have already copy pasted in the notepad. And now we are going to define another two variables. And that's what I'm going to show you what that means if you do not define the default. So we go here, we define variable AWS underscore region. Okay, we know it's going to be type string, and I'm not defining anything. Okay, not defining default or anything in this. Okay, I'm defining another variable called as AWS AMI underscore ID, and I'm defining here type equals to string. Okay, so these are the two variables where I haven't defined the default. For rest, I have defined the default. So let me save this, clear the screen. Now the question is, how are we going to access that, right? So to access any of the input variable, you need to use something called as var dot it's going to be var dot dot AWS underscore region. That's how you're going to access these variables. And we will remove the locals from here because we have already viewed the demo of it. So now let's clear it. Main.pf, we see we have access where region, we have variable for access key, we have variable for secret key. If you notice, I have by mistakenly typed here the variable access key. I should go ahead with secret key. Otherwise, it will not give. Let me clear the screen, go to variables.pf, where AWS instance type is there. The first thing is what I noticed that I forgot to give the double quotes. So I'll go here, give double quotes. Okay, everything looks good. Now let's do Terraform validate. Typo error, sorry. Okay, it says, yes, let me go, where is that? Validate. Okay, so we got something called as okay. So validation is now successful. Now let's apply Terraform plan. And if I want to pass a variable, I will use dash var single quotes AMI underscore ID. Okay, I know what I'm passing, AWS underscore this, and then I'm going to pass the AMI ID, which is this. Okay, and single quotes. And see, the other way it started populating, because since we did not define the default value for the region, it is asking give me the value so that I can get a plan ready for you. So I'm going to type here ES. The moment I type here, it will start now creating the plan. And you see, it has started. It took our AMI, it took our variable, whatever is defined here, and it is done. Okay, that's how the input variable works. And same thing, you need to pass that while at the time of apply. If you don't pass, it will ask you for that. Let me quickly show you the output variable, and then we will go with the apply thing. So friends, if you see, I have defined certain output variables in main.tf. And how do I got this? Very simple. Let me tell you. So when you execute the plan, it basically starts populating what all is associated with your instance, which is AMI, ANI. Then you have CPUs, you have IDs, instance states, instance type, key name, then public IP, public DNS, public IP, private DNS, and a couple of other things. So that's how I took that and I have created this for this. So I have declared an output and I have declared a variable name. And then there is something called as a value because we are fetching the value what we have applied while executing Terraform apply, and then it will display on the screen to us. You can also redirect that to a particular file, no worry, but we will just for our demo purpose, we will be displaying it on the screen. So let's now clear the screen. Type here Terraform validate. Sorry, typo error. We went here, type the validate to see all are good or not. And boom, we got the success email. Now let's go to our Terraform plan and let me just type this. Okay, and then you will see what's going to happen. It started asking me the AMI because I haven't passed that, right? So now I need to pass that AMI, right? So I am passing that AMI. Now it will ask me the region, which region you want us to create your EC2 instance. Okay, and that's how now the plan is created, right? Everything is created what we want. Now let's do our apply. So if you see here, there is something called as auto approve. That means it will not prompt you for why, for yes, do you approve to proceed with this? See, that's where we are using an auto approve. So all I'm going to do is whatever I have typed here. So I will go ahead, type Terraform apply. Then I'm going to type here var because I need to pass the this, right? AMI underscore ID. Then I will get it from here, which is this one. Okay, single constant var AWS underscore region, which is US/ES2. Okay, and then I'm going to write here dash auto approve. And see, it started creating the instance for us. Let's go to our this thing. Still creating. So we got here something called as pending, might be a typo error at the tag, which I will just do it once again. Don't worry. So if you see, it starts still saying creating, but we know that our instance has been created here, right? That's what it is. And if you see whatever the output we have displayed, it started displaying it. So it has this private ID, it has this, it has this. Now let me go to the main.pf. Okay, and let me correct this. Okay, for the tag, and let me again execute Terraform plan. Okay, it is asking again what is the ID. Got it. What is the region? We got it. Okay. And now it's saying that you have changed this, and that's what we need, right? That's what we wanted. Approve. refreshing it, instance dot source complete. Let's go and check whether our instance name is there or not, and see hello world is now populating, and we have got the IP address, the instance running, and couple of other things. I hope you got a basic understanding of how to use the variables in your day-to-day Terraform stuff. We will be learning Terraform TVAS in our next video. Until then, take care and do share this video with your colleagues. And if you have really liked it, hit thumbs up and do not forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel. Until then, take care. Shabakeh.